I'm going to show you how to make a basic slideshow today in Premiere Pro using photos that you've organized on Photos on your Mac. So first we are going to start in Photos. I have this photo album I've made of photos and videos over a few different trips to Walt Disney World. So I'm going to use that as my example, and I'm just going to randomly pick some ones here. You could also just export the whole album by hitting Command A and export 547 items. I'm not going to do that today, but that's how you get to that step. I'm going to just grab some random pictures as we go so that we're not dealing with the whole lot of everything. As you can see, I'm selecting some horizontal and some vertical based images because I'm going to show you how to figure that out in Premiere. So I've got a handful right here, and I'm going to go to, I have those selected. I'm going to go up to File, go to Export 12 Photos, and JPEG's great, high is great for quality, color profile, most compatible, full size, include all of this information. This is what's important for you as you're building a slideshow. I would make the order correct in Photos and not worry about doing that in Premiere. So in order to keep the order you've created, you have to change the file name to be sequential and not use the original file name. As if you did that, then it would just use the regular file name and it would pour into whatever order. So I've made this prefix, sequential prefix, Walt Disney World or WDW _ and then whatever is going to happen. I don't do a subfolder because I want them to pour out in exactly the same order that I want the slideshow to be in. I'm going to hit export. It's going to ask me where I want to put it. I have an external hard drive. I made a folder in there. It's called Slideshow Tutorial, export, and it's currently exporting. I know it's exporting because there's this little icon up here that's filling up. If I were to pull up, you'll see I have the Finder folder here. It's now been populated. I can see that these are the pictures I used, and they're in the correct order. So now I'm going to open up my Adobe Premiere project, and I'm going to make a new project, which I've done previously, and I'm stuck on the import media to start. The very first thing I'm going to do is go to new item. I'm going to say sequence, and I'm going to say, I like to put an underscore at the beginning so that the sequence goes to the very top. I'm going to call it slideshow. Now when I create a sequence, I like to use this preset right here. It's under digital SLR, and I like to use 1080p by 1080p 24 frames a second. That is what I think looks best on the HD TVs that most people are going to use to show this stuff or on the internet. I can name the sequence here. I'll just rename it the same thing I named the other one, and now that we have that done properly, we're good on that. So now I need to bring in my photos. So I like to keep things organized. I'm gonna click on this thing that says new bin. You can also right click and say new bin, and I'm gonna say photo batch number 1, just in case I bring in more. Or if things are organized by albums in iPhoto, or in Photos, I would match whatever the album is named there, so that if you do have like an album in Photos that has like 50,000 pictures, you could divide that up into, by 500s or something like that. If you're doing a 50-year wedding anniversary slideshow, for example, you could name the bin 1960 through 1970. Anyway, I'm going to double click on that, and it's going to pop up another bin for me right here. And I'm going to right click and say import, and I'm gonna go find my folder Here it is, Slideshow tutorials. I'm going to click my mouse and drag down, import all of them. You'll see there they are populated. Now, make sure that they're in the right order in your bin. I'm going to close this bin because now, as you can see, this bin is here and it's populated with the right images. I'm going to set my duration of each picture. I think I want to be around 5 seconds. So I'm going to select all these photos. I'm going to right click, say speed and duration, 5 seconds. And there you go. Now it's set for 5 seconds. Video duration, 5 seconds. And then I'm going to take this, and my sequence is right here, and I'm just going to click and drag this over here. I'm going to use this to make it a little bit bigger, this slider down here at the bottom, so I can see everything. And you'll notice that now in my sequence, all these photos are zoomed in. The reason that is because the photos all have bigger resolution than the sequence we've set up. And so this is what 100% quality looks like, or 100% of the images. So since the picture quality is greater than that of the sequence, you're going to see this full screen. So the way that we fix this, the simplest way to fix it, is to select all of them once they're in the sequence, right click, and say scale to frame size. Now you can see as I scroll through, here we go, all of my photos are there. So let's say that you want to add a dissolve between all of these. You can do it one by one. You could right click here, you could say apply default transition, and it would be there. And mine's set up to be a 12 frame cross dissolve. I think the default in Adobe Premiere is 1 second, which is great too. The fastest way to do this is to highlight all of them, go to sequence, up here at the top, click on apply default transitions to selection. Boom. Now it's going to do all that there. I'm going to go back a couple steps and hit undo a couple times. Let's say you're following a script or something. You have some music. You want some pictures to be longer than others. There's a couple different ways you could do that. The simplest way to do it is to use what's called a ripple edit tool. And you're going to grab the end, it's going to turn yellow, of a picture, and you're just going to kind of slide it to where you want it to go. So in this case, I'm going to bring in some audio. I'm just going to show you some waveforms. The content doesn't really matter. And I know that after listening to it, okay, this is where I want my photo to end. It's here. So I'm going to use the ripple edit tool, and I'm just going to kind of keep that going. I'm going to have this one take up that much time. This one we're going to make short. This one we're going to make long. And then you can kind of just play with that. Okay, now the other way that you could do it is you could click on an individual one. You could click duration. You could change it. I want this one up there for 10 seconds. Make sure you hit ripple edit shifting trailing clips. Otherwise it's going to, if you make it shorter, it's going to leave an empty gap between everything. Okay, so that one's long enough. The other thing that you could do is, let's find it. Where is it? I don't use it very often. There's a tool to select. Here we go. Track Select Forward tool. You could grab this one, and I'm going to make sure that you see now it's going to collect. I don't like to use this one because it defaults to grabbing the audio as well. You're going to see now my audio is moving. You could hold the shift button down and just have it be for that certain track. So click it, let go of shift, move it around. I don't like to do that. I think the ripple edit tool is the best way to do it. I'm going to get this back to where it was. I'm going to click the black space in Premiere, hit delete, it'll move back. So that is how you make your basic slideshow. I'm going to play my add default transitions again. I'm going to take out this voiceover, and now I'm going to add some music. So I'm going to double click on this project window. I've got some 80s power pop from my dad's old band I'm going to put in here. So maybe it's a slideshow for my dad. I could start at the beginning, or I could bring it up in this source monitor, decide where I want it to start. Let's say I'm going to have it start here. I'm going to hit I for in, and then I'm going to drag it down to the bottom. It's just the simplest way to do it. If you're a little more advanced, you can start using keyboard shortcuts, but we'll start here. Now, if you have audio going at the same time, I always like to keep dialogue on the top tracks, A1, A2. And then for things like slideshows, have music be on the lower tracks. But you don't want dialogue and music competing with each other. So I'm going to keep the audio of my music, of my vocal track, dialogue track. I'm going to lock it so it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't shift. You do that by clicking this toggle track lock button. And then I'm going to drag A3 down. I'm just going to grab the bottom line on it, drag it down, and I'm going to move this down to -20. And that should be enough, around -20, so that I can hear what the dialogue is. Let's see.
Located at Euclid and Orangeburg and Fulton.
And I can still hear the music. So, that is the basics, and then I would kind of just bring in the next music track. You can grab it, and you can kind of shift it down. Let's see if it'll, no, it doesn't want to let me do that. If you want to do more audio tracks, you would just have to go to sequence and say, let's see, add tracks. I'm going to add 3 audio tracks. And then, grab a different song, we'll pretend, and add it here. Could add another dissolve at the end of the music. Add a dissolve in the front of this one. Kind of make sure they line up at a good spot. The further zoomed out you are on your sequence, the more it's going to snap, like it was doing there. It was kind of forcing me where to go. The closer you get, the less it'll do that.
Burger King on River Road.
So, that's your basic slideshow tutorial. From there, let's say that you're done. I'm going to delete some of this stuff. Just move it out of the way so that it gives me a shorter export. I feel happy about my slideshow. I'm going to click on File, Export Media, and then this little thing's going to come up. I'm going to pick H.264 because that looks great on the web. Match source high bitrate. I'm going to decide where I want it to go. I'm going to put it on my desktop because I'm lazy and setting a bad example. And then I'm going to hit export, and it's going to take more or less about the same amount of time that your thing takes in real time, depending on how fast your computer is. And from there, I have my finished product roughly. Let's see if it's just about done. Then I'll open it up in here to see how it looks. And I'll kind of just scrub through it. Scrub meaning I grab this is the long image, of course.
Located at Euclid and Orangeburg.
There's some fun dialogue. So there you go. That's how I build a simple slideshow in Adobe Premiere Pro using photos from the Photos app on a Macintosh or an Apple, whatever you'd like to call it. Thanks for watching. Hope that was interesting, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments.